death is a difficult topic, especially if it's one's own or of a loved one. However, it is also an unavoidable reality deserving reflection. As Steve Jobs said, death is a destiny we all share. Similarly, I tell my students that each friend we make is, at best, a funeral we will eventually attend. This is why we resort to humor. Humor is a way to cope, to deal with discomfort. We sometimes laugh off what we fear, death included. The difficulty with humor, however, is its need to laugh at something. We can laugh at death, but it cannot be our own or of anyone we love. As a teacher and playwright catering to young adults, I ask, how can I get my audience to reflect on death? My answer lay in Metatheatre, as I wrote a 10-minute play entitled Death in 10 Minutes. In this presentation, I aim to answer this question. How is death and humor incorporated pedagogically through Metatheatre? I will parallel my creative process to the tradition of other metatheatrical plays. By discussing statement and execution, I will highlight its pedagogy. This then contextualizes the humor and metatheatrical techniques used. Afterwards, I will discuss the feedback received from the performances in the form of recorded audience response, theater reviews, and awards. This not only validates the hypothesis behind the techniques, but affirms the play's significance as well. Death at Curtain originally meant to introduce theater by exhibiting aspects unique to the craft. However, a gripping plot was necessary to justify the demonstration. Characters resorting to metatheatrical means to survive filled that need. This became the premise. Two characters named XO and Zleen find out that they are just characters in a play, and that XO is slated to die when the play ends. The play featured XO's different attempts to avert his end, from rewriting the script to killing the only other character in the script, Zleen. But each time Zleen dies, he resurrects as the actor playing the character XO just killed. While the gimmick displayed novelty, the concept was too reminiscent of Luigi Pirandello's 6 Characters in Search of an Author and Tom Stoppard's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, where characters try hard to be like real people. At best, Death at Curtain's statement was trite. Although the life's meaning is at times elusive, artistic structure must have some sense. For Death at Curtain to be relevant, it must deal with what none of these plays cover. 2 books provided relevance necessary: Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics and Philippine national artist Jose Dalisay's The Fiction is in the Writing. In Understanding Comics, McCloud discussed how a reader participates in the comic book's creative process by building connections between panels. To quote, Death at Curtain cannot settle for XO's struggle. It must also highlight the audience's significance. This would distance the play from the works of Pirandello and Stoppard, which keep the audience as mere spectators. Dalisay's insight on art developed the statement further. According to Dalisay, art served as a Perseus's mirror, where the audiences would look at the Medusa-like horrors of life without the consequences of reality petrifying them. Applying both concepts to Death at Curtain, the play must make the audience more self-conscious to connect with XO's anguish. 2 moments cue the audience to this insight. First is Zleen's argument to XO.
Food for thought. After all the killing you've done, stage death kind of loses meaning.
True enough, death in fiction is nowhere as traumatic as in life. The repetition of death in blockbusters and video games can dilute reflection on death's real implications.
Just give the audience a good show. At the end of the day, we're just characters to be played out in front of the audience. If you become interesting enough, they might come back and watch this play. Directors might line up to mount this play, and actors would want to audition for you.
That is immortality for characters like them. XO asks why he would want that, to die at each performance.
Unlike us, they only get to live once.
This second point, however valid, will only have impact through proper build-up and execution. Humor and metatheatrical devices then become crucial. Before the insight, Death at Curtain already contained metatheatrical devices involving the audience. XO and Zleen, for example, acknowledge the script's authenticity when they suddenly see the audience and attempt to walk out, offended at the audience's voyeurism. But XO re-enters to spoil the ending for the audience, triggering the discovery of his imminent death. Audience involvement manifests further when XO asks for a pen from the audience to rewrite the script. This plan fails as XO discovers the script already containing XO's plan, affirming the script's anticipation of XO's actions. Without the insight, however, the meta-theatrical devices are merely demonstration. The audience interaction is still underutilized. Also, the statement, "Unlike us, they only get to die once," still has to be earned. XO's emotional trajectory solves it. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 5 Stages of Grief plots XO's emotional progression through denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance as he gets closer and closer to his inevitable end. Utilizing XO's bargaining stage could highlight the audience's role in a theatrical performance. When XO accuses the playwright of playing God,
"We are the grown-up playwright! We are in a terrible play! We're the playwright plays God!" No! This playwright God thing is an unlikely analogy after all. What's a script without a performance? If you think about it, a playwright is hardly godlike. Hey, even actors are subject to the script. Is there anybody not influenced by the script at all? Methinks there is not. There is them! Them! But these people merely ogle on us. Without them, all this will just be a rehearsal. Thus, if I get the audience to walk out, the play will not continue and I shall not die.
XO then begs the audience to walk out. Allowing the audience to affect the play is nothing new. J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan utilizes this by having the audience clap to revive Tinkerbell. Ayn Rand's The Night of January 16th has the production select audience members for jury duty in the courtroom drama's proceedings. Despite this, Peter Pan's audience participation is an isolated gimmick within the play. In The Night of January 16th, the audience members play as jury. In Death at Curtain, the audience keep being the audience, and their decision to stay or leave is central to the theatrical experience. Such integrated audience interaction also manifests in John Stone's The Monster at the End of This Book, starring lovable, furry old Grover. The story is self-referential. Grover, the Muppet from Sesame Street, notices the book's title and begs the reader to stop reading. The book structure cued readers to ignore Grover's pleas. The similarity between this book and Death at Curtain, however, only highlights the uniqueness of plays. Grover, in the book, is forever stuck with the reactions written for him. In Death at Curtain, the actors while in character, can improvise to the temperament of the audience. This distinction makes Death at Curtain innovative. Theoretically, the statement, humor, and metatheatre of Death at Curtain work. The real test lay in a production's decision to actually mount the play. When Short and Sweet Manila 2014 called for entries, I trimmed Death at Curtain to a 10-minute format. Only the strongest points, gags, and metatheatrical devices feasible within 10 minutes were retained. This heightened the play's tension. The revisions called for a new title. Death at Curtain spelled no urgency. Death in 10 minutes, however, called attention to the performance's running time. Death in 10 minutes then qualified for the Short and Sweet Manila Festival. My director immediately realized that the names XO and Zleen are a cue not to bind the actors to age, sex, or nationality. This liberty extended to the way the characters will discover the script. This had a long-term effect. In Short and Sweet Manila, Zleen and XO became Sir John and Squire Bill, a knight and his squire searching for the Holy Grail, but discovering the script instead. In Short and Sweet Canberra, the direction stuck to Zleen and XO discovering a box. In Short and Sweet Auckland, Zleen and XO were two actors who discovered during a rehearsal that they are merely characters. These productions created new layers to how the audience can only die once, in contrast to them. Short and Sweet Manila production was a success. Aside from the positive reviews and bagging all the awards it was eligible to, the real success lay in the consistency of the audience reaction to theory.
Lord, I see no grail hither, holy or otherwise. Only this manuscript. Short and Sweet Manila presents. 10 minutes, a 10-minute play.
XO's bargaining with the audience elicited more laughter.
Oh, good luck! Good luck! This my language is on the line! Getting everyone to walk out of the theater, everyone think you can do that. I'd love to see you try. Ready to walk out. We have spoiled the ending for thee, did we not? What else is there to see? Seriously. Thou may not be here only to watch me die. Whither we, Asian Rome, and thou spectators of a Roman circus, shall I, who am about to die, salute thee? Thou art better than this, to watch a poor groom like me drop dead! They've watched Virgil drop dead so many times already. Why shouldn't they watch you? These people have invested in watching something explicitly titled Death in 10 minutes.
When Zleen tells XO to give the audience a good show, the actor improvised.
If you become interesting enough, they might come back and watch this play. Directors might line up to mount this play, and actors would want to audition for you, and we would be part of the festival finalists.
This kept the audience conscious of the performance's immediacy. When Zleen finally tells XO that the audience only gets to die once, the audience express their agreement.
Unlike us, they only get to live once.
How is death and humor incorporated through metatheatre? Humor and metatheatre first depend on the playwright's meditation on death. While this may sound obvious, I believe that experiencing the deaths of loved ones and my own close calls jolted me into facing my own mortality. If I believed that art has a Perseus mirror effect, then I should know and have a statement on my artwork's topic. I mean it when I say that to make friends is at best to prepare attending another person's funeral. Real-life experience with death taught me that death is inevitable and difficult to face. Unfortunately, humor is not a matter of happiness as it is an intellectual expression. We laugh because we get it. Death, too, as long as it's impersonal, can be a laughing matter. I wanted a material that made people face their own mortality. But the reality of death, especially our own, is something we'd rather not talk about. Humor can ease into the discussion of death, but humor detaches itself emotionally from the issue. Enter Mise en Abîme. The Metatheatre of Death in 10 Minutes contrasted the audience to the characters. The audience are actual people, while the characters are just characters. The audience are likely to survive the next 10 minutes, while one of the characters won't. The audience have a life beyond the play, while the characters don't. The audience, then, become conscious of their superiority. XO is just a character. His death is fiction despite his claims. Furthermore, Zlin dies repeatedly. Stage death, from an audience perspective, is inconsequential to real life. Death in art can become mundane. The audience is used to it and is desensitized. When XO begs the audience to leave, not only can they afford to refuse, they can also choose to laugh. Once XO bargains and the laughter and refusal ensues, the audience have plunged themselves into the metatheatrical abyss. They have become part of the play as XO's antagonists. This amplifies the context of Zlin's statement, "Unlike us, they only get to die once." The audience are no longer mere spectators, but characters of Death in 10 Minutes. But, as real people, they do only die once. Multiple staging of Death in 10 Minutes solidify its statement, not only for the audience, but for anyone involved in the productions. The audience, directors, actors, and even me as writer will come and leave and die. XO and Zlin will keep coming back to life at each performance. This reality further distinguishes the lives of fictional characters and our own. Despite XO's death, Death in 10 Minutes does not end its pedagogy on a sad note. XO accepts his death. And if XO did give the audience a good show, he will resurrect, perhaps in a different performance, performed by a different actor in front of a different audience. Perhaps there is indeed an afterlife. Maybe there's more to this life as well, and the way we live our lives may win us our own immortality beyond our death. We may have laughed at XO's pleas, but the joke is on us, and we don't mind.